Hi everyone, welcome to today's Current Affairs Daily Notes. Today's topic is Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill 2019. I'm Ritrisha from GK Today. Let us begin. Ending Jammu and Kashmir special status in the Indian Union, the government has extended all provisions of the constitution to the state in one go, downsized the state into two union territories, and allowed all citizens to buy property and vote in the state. So today, we are going to discuss the following. The bills and resolutions passed. What are the key changes made? What are the differences between states and union territories? What are the legislative powers of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir? What is the role and power of the Lieutenant Governor? What is the impact of these changes? Why was this move necessary? Why did this move draw flack? And what are the challenges ahead? The bills and resolutions passed. So, in this regard, Union Minister for Home Affairs Sri Amit Shah introduced two bills and two resolutions regarding Jammu and Kashmir. These are as follows. The first one is Constitution Application to Jammu and Kashmir Order 2019, issued by the President of India to supersede the 1954 order related to Article 370. Then there's the resolution for repeal of Article 370 of the Constitution of India. Again, there's Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill of 2019 and Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Second Amendment Bill 2019. So what are the key changes that are being made? So far, the Parliament had only residuary powers of legislation in Jammu and Kashmir. This included enaction of laws to prevent terror and secessionist activities for taxation on foreign land and inland travel and on communication. But now changes have been made. The President has used his powers under Article 370 to fundamentally alter the provision, extending all central laws, instruments and treaties to Kashmir. However, the drastically altered Article 370 will remain on the statute books. And while the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will have a legislature, the one in Ladakh will not. The notification by the President has effectively allowed the entire provisions of the Constitution with all its amendments, exceptions and modification to apply to the area of Jammu and Kashmir. The bill proposes wide powers to the Lieutenant Governor of the proposed Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and makes it duty of the Chief Minister of the Union Territory to communicate all administrative decisions and proposals of legislation with the Lieutenant Governor. Now, all central laws and state laws of Jammu and Kashmir would apply to the new union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Assets and liabilities of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will be proportioned on recommendation of a central committee within a year. Employees of state public sector undertakings and autonomous bodies would continue in their posts for another year until their allocations are determined. The police and public order is to be with the centre. The notification amends the expression Constituent Assembly contained in the proviso to clause 3 of Article 370 to mean Legislative Assembly. Now, before we proceed, let us learn what are the differences between states and union territories. Firstly, states have their own elected government, but in union territories, it is administered by the central government. The state is administered by Chief Minister, whereas union territories are administered by administrators appointed by the President. The states have the governor as its executive head, whereas union territories have President as their executive heads. A state mandatorily has its own legislative assembly, which make laws for the state, but for union territories, this is not mandatory. It may or may not have legislative assemblies. Powers in states are distributed through the federal mode, that is, powers divided between states and centre. Whereas in case of union territories, powers are unitary in nature, that is, the power is in the hands of the centre alone. What are the legislative powers of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir? The Legislative Assembly may make laws for the whole or any part of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir with respect to any of the matters enumerated in the state list except on subjects of public order and police, which will remain in the domain of the centre via the Lieutenant Governor. In case of inconsistencies between laws made by Parliament and laws made by the Legislative Assembly, The laws made by Parliament shall prevail and law made by the Legislative Assembly shall be void. Also, the role of the Chief Minister will be to communicate to the Lieutenant Governor all decisions of the Council of Ministers relating to the administration of affairs of the Union Territory and proposals for legislation, and to furnish such information relating to the administration of affairs as the Lieutenant Governor may call for. So ultimately, it's the decision of the Lieutenant Governor, which is why we need to know what is the role and the powers of the Lieutenant Governor. This bill specifies that the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh will have a common Lieutenant Governor. Now, the appointment shall be done under Article 239 by the President, and the Lieutenant Governor will be assisted by advisors appointed by the Centre, since the Union Territory will not have a Legislative Assembly, which is in case of Ladakh. In the case of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Lieutenant Governor shall act in his discretion on issues which fall outside the purview of powers conferred on the Legislative Assembly, which he is required to exercise any judicial functions or matters related to All India Services and the Anti-Corruption Bureau. Now, the Chief Minister shall be appointed by the Lieutenant Governor, who will also appoint other ministers with the aid of the Chief Minister. The Lieutenant Governor shall also administer the oath of office and of secrecy to the ministers and the Chief Minister. The Lieutenant Governor will have powers to promulgate ordinances which shall have the same force and effect as an act of the Legislative Assembly assented by the Lieutenant Governor. Now, what is the impact of these changes? The tabling of the proposed reorganization bill is also proof that the long reign of the 1954 order has now ended. The 1954 order had introduced a proviso to Article 3, namely that no bill providing for increasing or diminishing the area of the state of Jammu and Kashmir or altering the name or boundary of the state shall be introduced in Parliament without the consent of the legislature of that state. That power of the state legislature to give prior consent does not exist anymore. This has provided a free hand to the centre to table the reorganization bill. With the removal of the 1954 order, the power of the state legislature ceases to exist, and parliamentary laws, including that of reservation, would apply to Jammu and Kashmir as it does in other parts of the country. The government called this the end of positive discrimination and the closing of the chasm between residents of Jammu and Kashmir and the citizens of other part of the country. The removal of the 1954 order further also negates a clause which was added to Article 352. The order has mandated that no proclamation of emergency on grounds only of internal disturbance or imminent danger shall have effect in the state unless with the concurrence of the state government. So this is no longer valid. So why was this move necessary? There are a couple of reasons. Article 370 has prevented Jammu and Kashmir's merger into the whole of India. It has been seen as discriminatory by many on the basis of gender, class, caste and place of origin, and post its repeal, doors to private investment would be opened, which would in turn increase the potential for development in Jammu and Kashmir. Increased investments would lead to increased job creation and further betterment of socio-economic infrastructure in the state. Opening of buying of lands would bring in investments from private individuals and multinational companies and give a boost to the local economy. So why did this move draw flag? The popular sentiment is that the special status was meant to end, but only with the concurrence of its people. So the mechanism that the government used to railroad its rigid ideological position on Jammu and Kashmir through the Rajya Sabha was both hasty and stealthy. This move will strain India's social fabric not only in its impact on Jammu and Kashmir, but also in the portent it holds for federalism, parliamentary democracy and diversity. The passing of this legislation is being seen as far-reaching as dismembering a state without prior consultations. The entire exercise of getting Article 370 of the Constitution effectively abrogated has been marked by executive excess. A purported process to change the constitutional status of a sensitive border state has been achieved without any legislative input or representative contribution from its people. So there are also challenges ahead. So what are these challenges? The move will be legally challenged on grounds of procedural infirmities, and most substantively, it undermines the basic feature of compact between Delhi and Srinagar that was agreed upon in 1947. The President's power under Article 370 has been used both to create an enabling provision and to exercise it immediately to modify the order, thereby dispensing with the role envisaged for the State Assembly. While it is true that the 1961 Supreme Court order that the President's power to modify the constitutional provisions is being applied, it is a moot question whether this can be invoked to make such a radical change. A functioning state has now been downgraded and bifurcated into two union territories. But beyond the legality, the real test will be on the streets of Srinagar, Jammu and Delhi once the security cordon is lifted from the state. What was unbecoming is the unwillingness to enter into consultation with the mainstream political leaders. In no other state would former chief ministers have been dealt with so cavalierly. That has been the popular sentiment so far. We can only hope that things get smoother from here onwards. That's all for this video. If you want to read more about the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill 2019, simply follow a link in the description below. And if you liked our efforts, please do like, share and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.